It's time for At Home with the RubberDucks, powered by First Energy. 640 WHLO gets you closer to your hometown team with stories of the game and updates from the season ahead.
Line to left center, that's a base hit and a game winner for the Akron RubberDucks.
Akron RubberDucks baseball, affordable family fun.
High drive to right, that's well hit, back, that ball is gone, it's a home run.
Here's your hosts, Marco LaNave and Jim Clark.
Welcome into At Home with the RubberDucks for the final weekend of June, and we do have some good baseball news. Major League Baseball is planning to begin its season late in the month of July and, in fact, start spring training later this week. And Jim Clark, we've been waiting a long time, and thank goodness we have something.
Well, play ball finally. They haven't come to an agreement, but they're going to play. Whatever that means, let's run with it. Let's get back on the field, a little bit of healing for everybody as far as what baseball can do, and let's just play ball.
Well, we were fortunate this week that we caught Andre Knott, who is the television reporter on Indians broadcast. He's from the Akron area, went to St. Vincent-St. Mary's. And Jim, what a delightful conversation and very timely.
This is a treat. This could have gone on for 3 or 4 hours. You guys will love Andre Knott with this.
And what we do know from the announcement by Major League Baseball earlier this week, players will be reporting for training July 1st, and then the season will begin July 23rd or 24th. That's a Thursday and Friday later in July. A 60-game season, and the plan is for teams to play within their division as well as play that same division in the opposite league. So the Indians, for example, will not play all of the teams in the American League, but instead the AL Central and NL Central. Season ending September 27th, in the postseason, as it has been in previous years, with 10 teams will go on from there. And as far as baseball at Canal Park, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, but do want to remind you that baseball camp is coming up July 6th through the 10th. That's for youth ages 5 to 12, a 5-day camp, 9 a.m. to noon each day. It includes lunch, and limited to just 50 campers to maintain all of the distancing guidelines. You can get more information at akronrubberducks.com, or you can call Roy Jacobs at 330-375-1706. But let's get to our show for this week. So enjoy our conversation with Andre Knott, and also we'll be talking with Sam Dankoff of the Akron RubberDucks front office about the 4th of July celebration set to take place at Canal Park, 4th on the field, including City of Akron fireworks. And finally, we want to remind you, as radio listeners, you can still get 20% off RubberDucks caps in the online team store. Just enter the promo code RADIO when you check out at akronrubberducks.com. We are pleased to be joined by a man on the inside scoop of Major League Baseball, we could say, and also close ties to the Akron area as well. So we're happy to talk with him. Andre Knott, of course, will recognize his work on Indians TV broadcasts, and he's done local media for quite a while now. Andre, first of all, thanks so much for giving us some time on At Home with the RubberDucks.
No problem. I appreciate you guys giving me the time. If you guys would have did this like 3 weeks ago, baseball would be back coming in a major league level, right?
Exactly. Well, the great thing is for Jim Clark, my partner, and myself is we couldn't have timed it any better. So Andre, let's get into the big news first of all. Major League Baseball planning to come back. What are sort of the most important points to you about this plan?
I think everybody obviously over the last couple of weeks have been caught up about salaries and money. And I think you guys know as well as I do, it's out of our priorities. I think the main thing now with knowing that this virus is still here is, can they keep all these guys healthy? Can they keep these guys healthy to a point that we can get a 60-game season in? I know the headlines are always about, who's going to get this much percentage and that much percentage. But in talking to some of the guys, really the health protocols end up at the end of all of this being very important, because you're trying to not only get, a roster of 30, 40 guys, maybe, 50 guys if you have a taxi squad, but also you have the coaching staff. As you guys, I know you guys have had Mike Sarbaugh, who's in very good shape for his age. I'll say that about Sarby because I get to look at his rear end half of the season because I'm sitting right by him and I love Sarbs. But, look at coaching staffs, and Indians for the most part have a pretty healthy team of coaches. But you look around Major League Baseball with the ages of some of those guys, That was a concern. I know the players, when they originally saw the protocol and they saw things of the nature of coming to the park like little leaguers with their uniforms on and not being able to shower and things of that nature, they kind of scratched their head. I know that they were able to work through some of that, and some of these guys are going to be able to shower. But really, I think the protocols on how to take care of guys, I know one of the questions that was asked, say you're in Kansas City and a guy gets the virus, he shows up positive. Do you leave him there in some 4-star, 5-star hotel? Does he get a ride back? Does he get a private plane? But, things like we just want baseball. But I think at the end of the day, when these guys finally put it all together, they had to have a lot of questions about things of that nature. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think at this moment right now they have all the answers. So really, let's get to that July 24th date, and hopefully the rosters are mostly healthy and we can cut out the marathon and get a quick sprint of baseball season.
You're such a huge part of the STO coverage, and what I love the most is your relationship with the players. They'll tell you things I think they won't tell other people because they feel so good and comfortable with you. How does this change what you do, since you might be sitting behind a third base dugout in Cleveland when they're playing in Detroit?
Yeah, Jim, I appreciate the words. That's the hurdle, and I'm gonna have to figure it out, and maybe I'll be doing Zoom calls with them like I've done with you guys and others. I think the one thing that I think in building relationships, and you guys know this in the jobs that you do, you build relationships not knowing how they're always going to work out, not doing it just solely for yourself. And I've been able to keep in touch with a lot of the players throughout this time. I think, Jim, heck, you know how this is. You've been around the game a long time. I've built a lot of those relationships because in spring training, when I'm not doing games, these guys see my face, and I've been able to text and tweet with different guys. So hopefully, Jim, no matter what hurdle we have when the season starts, hoping the previous relationships that have been built, being able to, have a text message. I'll be honest with you, Jim. I've gone to bed the last few nights with that. I don't want to say concern, but, some of the best conversations, you guys work in baseball, some of the best conversations, some of the best information I get is usually in those odd moments of time where you're grabbing a bite to eat or you're walking through a hallway and I say, hey, Adam Pleco, you pitch on Friday. You just have a random conversation and then one of those things hits. You're like, man, that could be something that'd be good to talk about on the broadcast. So how do I find those informal moments when we're going to have to be so formal? It's something that I'm going to have to work through, but we're going to figure it out. And hopefully, as I said, because of the relationships I've built with most of these guys, hopefully I'll be able to have enough kind of in my back pocket to do the job as well as we've done in the past.
And baseball relationships are different, I think, more than any other sport because you're there every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think because you're there every day, you see guys in their highs and their lows. I bring up starting pitchers because to me, starting pitchers are the relationship of baseball like no other. There's nothing like a guy 2 days after he started and had a good start, best mood in the world, right? Then you get the starting pitcher who has a terrible outing, only goes 2 innings, and you can't talk to him for 3 days. Josh Tomlin was always great because he took a lot of ribbing because he only threw 88, 89 miles an hour, and he's on the staff with everybody else. And he was so down to earth that reporters would go up to him sometimes on days that he was starting. And one guy, and you guys, we all know that's the no-no of no-nos. And one guy did it, and I think and I won't say the reporter's name because he didn't do it with a mean spirit in his body. He go, hey, Josh, how you doing? And Josh turned and said, hey, I'm doing good. Hopefully I can get outs tonight. And again, as soon as he said that, the reporter lost it. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. And it kind of became the running gag of, hey, go talk to Tomlin. He's pitching tonight. Those little things that sometimes they don't show up on a broadcast, but it tells you a lot about the personality of certain pitchers. And I'm going to have to find a way, Jim, Marco, to find a way to get those moments, and I'll do what I got to do to find them one way or the other.
That was SportsTime Ohio Indians TV reporter Andre Knott. And this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks was brought to you in part by Ambridge Hospitality, Fairfield Inn & Suites, and the Courtyard by Marriott, Akron Fairlawn. All partners presenting RubberDucks baseball. Coming up, we'll have more with Andre Knott.
You're listening to At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO. Your new home for Akron RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Here at Sarah Auto Park, community service has always been a priority of ours. These days, that spirit is more important than ever. Join us as we do everything we can to take care of our doctors, nurses, all other essential businesses, and their employees. If our community needs us for anything, even to safely get a bag of groceries to our most vulnerable, we're here. We'll get through this together. Sarah Auto Park.
This is RubberDucks broadcaster Marco LaNave. When people ask me who's the number one pick for print and copy solutions in the Akron area, I tell them Meritech, the pride of the RubberDucks for the past 9 years. Meritech's roster also includes IT consulting, cloud voice and data services for a powerhouse lineup to reduce risk, control costs, and increase productivity. So call Team Meritech today and tell them the RubberDucks sent you. Meritech Technology to empower your business.
Exceptional care means having access to world-class physicians and services. That's the care Cleveland Clinic Akron General provides to Akron and the surrounding communities. Whether it's primary care or specialized services, we put your needs first with care that is comprehensive and, best of all, close to home. Cleveland Clinic Akron General is committed to the community and your health. To learn more about our services close to you, visit akrongeneral.org.
KeyBank makes it easy to manage your money anytime, anywhere.
I am crushed for time.
KeyBank can help.
How? And how soon?
You have a smartphone?
I have to. It keeps me organized.
Download the KeyBank mobile app and then use your phone to deposit checks on the go, transfer money, even pay bills automatically.
Awesome.
Indeed. Learn how you can make even more financial progress when you use the Red Key. Only at KeyBank. Visit key.com or your local branch. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for a great apartment with the best location? Fir Hill Towers Apartments is just a 5-minute walk to the University of Akron or a 5-minute drive downtown. You'll find spacious living, convenience, and fun with a wide variety of restaurants and entertainment just outside your door. Perfectly suited for young professionals and students on the go looking for off-campus living. Stop by 55 First Street Hill, Akron, or call 330-762-7000. That's 330-762-7000 today and reserve your apartment home.
For a lawn that looks as good as Canal Park, depend on Grassmaster. They're a locally owned and operated full-service lawn and landscape company. The development of a healthy and attractive lawn or landscape requires a great deal of time and hard work. It's Grassmaster's commitment to providing the necessary ingredients of knowledge and treatment materials to develop a healthy and attractive lawn or landscape. By choosing Grassmaster as your lawn and landscape company, you are assuring that your investment is protected and will grow in value year after year. Visit thegrassmaster.com.
Everyone at Honda wants you to be safe. And right now, you need a car you can count on and your dealer to go the extra mile. So if your Honda needs parts or service, we're right here ready to help. Working to follow all government guidelines in order to get you what you need and help you stay safe with a reliable car that's ready to go when you need it.
Visit NorthernOhioHondaDealers.com.
Your business has a story to tell. Let Fast Signs Medina help you using the right mix of visual communication solutions like signs, banners, digital displays, fleet graphics, mobile marketing, health and safety communications, and so much more. Give Fast Signs Medina your business challenge and we'll come up with a plan to grow your business, reach more customers, and accomplish more than you ever thought possible. Fast Signs Medina. More than fast, more than signs, more than ready to help you grow your business. Call today and say Go Ducks for your discount.
This is At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO.
Deep drive out to right field. Rafaela turning, watching. It's gone to the Bud Light line. Tiki Terrace.
Your new home for RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Marco LaNave, and this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks is brought to you in part by Precious Cargo Trailways and Golden Crisp Potato Chips, both part of our lineup presenting RubberDucks baseball. Now here is more with Akron native Andre Knott of Indians TV broadcasts, Fox 8 News, and WTAM. Andre, keeping in communication, as you mentioned, over this sort of hiatus that's been over 3 months, what's your sense of how some guys are dealing maybe well or challenges with the virus and what just has happened in our society recently?
That's a great question, Marco. I think, ball players are ball players. And I mean that in the most respectful way that I can. I'll use a guy like Roberto Perez as a great example, who I think Roberto Perez anyone within the Cleveland Indians organization throughout, I think that's one of those guys that you put a 4-star next to because of when you look at where he was drafted, what he went through to go through the process of playing in Akron and Columbus. We only had a 6-round, 5-round draft this year. He wouldn't have been drafted if they would have drafted 4 times, over this year. He was one of those guys that he has a young family. A lot of these things were all new to him. He had just bought a home up in Cleveland, so he had his kids and family in Cleveland. And because his kids were so young, and he's got 3 kids, he didn't want to be around people very early on when we first got back from Arizona. Then about a month and a half in, he realized that, okay, we may have to have baseball. I haven't picked up a bat. I haven't had a glove. I haven't thrown. So then he flew down to Orlando and took his family with him so he could be near some players. And then he came back to this area about a month ago because he wanted his son to play Little League Baseball, and they were allowing him to play Little League Baseball. I tell all those stories because I think they resonate with us. We all have kind of been through, do we let our little kids play sports? I don't want to be out because I've got a very young son. And it got difficult for him because he said, doing yoga with your wife is cool for a couple of days. And then you realize this ain't going to help me get ready for a baseball season. I think you have that situation. And then I think with just a lot of things going around in our world, you've had a lot of guys be able to see things through a different light and through a different scope than what they usually would. I mean, let's be honest, when you're in the midst of a 8-game road trip or, a 3-city road trip, it's very easy to just look at the sports page in the newspaper, throw it to the side and play that game. And I think a lot of us have been able to get a bigger scope of what's going on in our world. And I think they're more conscious of that, and they're glad to have a distraction, to be able to provide a distraction. But I think the Indians, for the most part, our starting pitchers have all been able to continue throwing. I think we'll hear in the next couple of days, a lot of these guys are already up to 4 or 5 innings. How they'll get used will be very interesting. But they have worked together to try to keep their staff as strong as possible. And I know that Terry Francona is excited. He's quietly excited because a lot of his guys have, whether it be Carrasco, who stayed up here for a while, he was going to the ballpark at Progressive Field a lot to be able to throw. Clevenger's thrown a lot. I know that Zach Plesac, he's bounced all over, but he's thrown a lot. Pleco's thrown a lot. So the hope, Marco, is that they're going to be able to start this season in a month, and their starting pitching will be what their starting pitching should be, pretty strong.
Is there any way you see fans at any games at any point at all?
I would say before we kind of had this surge around the country, and knock on wood, we've been pretty lucky in Ohio to kind of keep our numbers down. I know down in Texas, my sister lives near Arlington, where they've got their new stadium down with the Rangers. They were already kind of touting a couple of weeks ago that they were going to get up to let maybe 30% to 40% capacity into their stadium. I hope so, Jim. I mean, if you look at our stadiums, you're telling me we couldn't get $5,000 into Progressive Field, or if you put, a couple grand maybe in the stands, and there should be enough area to social distance and maybe wear a mask. So my fingers are crossed that if we don't get a surge, that hopefully mid-August, early September, hopefully we can. I'll tell you this, the players desperately want to be able to have fans at the games. Does it happen? I don't know, but I know that the players desperately want to see fans. And look, at Progressive Field, I don't know about you guys, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but I won't be surprised if the first game at Progressive Field, I don't see guys out past left field looking through that fence trying to get a glance.
Well, Andre, we know that now more so than ever, you as TV are going to be such a critical link for fans trying to follow the team. At this point, what do you know about how TV broadcasts are going to be done and adapted?
Marco, that's a great question. I think we know that we're most likely staying in the stadiums for all games, home and away, that they're going to kind of build studios basically for us to be able to do games from home. Like I said earlier, a lot of the interviews maybe through Zoom. I know that the Indians, and I know across baseball, they tried to make the position that I have as a sideline guy or whatever we want to call it, since there's not a sideline in baseball, or in-game, whatever you want to call the role. They're working to find out what's the best way to integrate how we always do our coverage and how we always do the games, how we do interviews, whether it's with boom mics, someone holding a boom mic a little bit further away so you're socially distancing. I'll give NASCAR credit. How they've been able to do their coverage. We've watched, even my wife, who could care less about NASCAR, we're watching the end of the races to see how they are doing these interviews, or how are they, whether it's with masks. And So I know I talked to Chris Antonetti last week. You know, he was like, hey, we'll see you soon with the mask. Roberto Perez told me I can wear one of his catcher's mask with the mask. So it may be some high-wire comedy acts. And you made a great point. And Marco, you guys do this. Jim, you guys do this as well. I have a love for radio that will never go away. I remember growing up with my grandfather and listening to games on the radio and being able to paint that picture. And, we have Tom Hamilton, obviously, on the big league level. We understand, and talking to Matt Underwood and talking to Rick Manning over the last couple of days, we understand that we play a part in this, an important part, whether you're watching on television or on the radio, listening. We want to make it as fun as we always can, and as informative as we always can. I think there's going to be some stories to be told about, as you guys asked earlier. I was talking to Adam Pletko yesterday, who was a player rep, and he lives down in Texas. His dad's a basketball coach, and his dad, comes a lot of teachers within his family. And he and his wife, Allison, have a young child. They came back up to Cleveland probably a month and a half ago, and they went out, and because Corey Kluber's no longer with the team, and he had a nice nonprofit organization that helped out Adam and his wife. They went out of their way the last couple of months to help some of the people working within the hospitals, to help some of the different people at the food banks. They were able to make masks for them and do things of that nature. I think in a year like this, those type of stories are the ones that I'm going to dig down as much as I can to help with. I know Carlos Santana helped tremendously down in the Dominican Republic with the families down there and needing, the sacrifice that players like that made. So in all honesty with you guys, I take that part of the job serious to be able to tell those stories, because I remember what it's like to be a kid listening to the game on the radio and finding out, about guys that made me. I became a huge fan of Jim Thome, because that was when the AA team was playing out in Canton. My parents would take me out to Canton to watch that team, and I told him that a couple of nights ago, and it about melted him. He's a Hall of Famer. Like, who cares, that I'm bringing up in 2020 about seeing young, skinny Jim Thome play out in Canton. But I got to tell you, as a kid, that was everything to me, and I don't forget that. So we try to bring that across in the broadcast to bring people as close as we can to the action, but actually the human beings playing the game as well.
That was SportsTime Ohio TV reporter Andre Knott. And this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks was brought to you in part by Scene 75 Entertainment Center and 5 Star Meats, both on the team of partners presenting RubberDucks baseball. I'm Marco LaNave, and after the break, you'll hear more from Andre Knott. That comes your way right after this.
You're listening to At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO, your new home for Akron RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy. This is At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO.
Ruda going back. It's over his head. It's over the wall. The first AA home run for Oscar Gonzalez.
Your new home for RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Marco LaNave, and this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks is brought to you in part by Suma Health and Gardner Pie Company, all in our lineup presenting RubberDucks baseball. Jim Clark and I now continue with Akron native Andre Knott, who covers the Cleveland Indians as a reporter on SportsTime Ohio television broadcasts.
Well, you have a great relationship with Lindor. It's so obvious. Is there any way this situation has somehow maybe helped the Indians in maybe some miracle way to keep him?
Jim, I hope and pray that I hope. Here, I'll say this. When this first started, someone brought up, his contract situation, Jim, and I want to say this the right way. That's why I'm kind of pausing. And Frankie, being the conscientious kid that he is, said, my contract's not more important than the lives of Americans and people throughout this country. This virus is more important than my contract. He is a very smart kid, as you guys know. And free agency is going to change. It's funny, it was easy for us back in February to talk about $400 million contracts. We look around our world today, and I don't know if we're going to see those type of contracts, Jim, anytime soon. Can the Indians bounce back and financially? I hope. I've had someone in the industry say a guy like Lindor may have lost $150 million in his contract over the next 2 years. I don't know how true that is, but you guys know the numbers. You guys know how this works. He loves it here. He really does. I'll tell you a quick story. After the All-Star game last year that was here in Cleveland, Frankie came to me right after. And look, I've gotten to know Frankie pretty well. He knows my kids. My kids love. We were at a hotel in Tampa last year, and I'm walking them out to the pool, and my son sees Frankie, and Frankie goes, "Hey, you want to go to the pool with me?" And my son left me, and I couldn't blame him. I'd go hang out with him too. And Frankie told the story though after the All-Star game of how many other All-Stars came up to him and said, "Man, playing in Cleveland is really cool. The people are so down to earth. You can get to the park, you can get places." And I've said to Frankie, I get your situation. I get that you deserve the money, that you deserve it. But I go, there's nothing like home and nothing like the team that drafted you and brought you along. And he understands that. He's got a lot of family members that rely upon him. So, Jim, in the short answer, I will say that the Indians are going to try all they can, and I will give him this. He's going to listen. The question is, can they get anywhere near? We always talk about a hometown discount. Well, I don't think we should say those words in front of a kid who, look, he doesn't like. Here, I'll give you a couple of insights that I haven't given anywhere else. And don't hold me against this, and don't you two run me down 2 years from now if this doesn't happen. He's not a big fan of New York City. Boston had a chance when Cora was the manager because he and Cora were very close. But Cora's no longer the manager in Boston. And he loves Terry Francona. Loves Terry Francona. Those are the things that we got going. And he loves our city. He loves being here. I always make fun of him. You know, I always show him the picture hanging up in downtown Akron of him and Clevenger. Like that picture is, and I got to say that picture's big because I love telling those guys I'm an Akron guy and showing it. But my kids love seeing it. And I got to tell you, and I don't know who put it up, but I want anyone that knows this. It's a great connector for my children and for the young kids and around us because the light bulb goes off of, oh, yeah, those are guys we see on TV. And it's like, and my wife always says, they played here. So even now, my kids at 7 and 5 during spring training, you know, late in the game when there's guys playing, you know, Daniel Johnson, they've gotten to know a little bit because, I've told them about him and we were at a game and they were playing out in right field last year and I was kind of talking to Daniel. So they already know who Daniel Johnson is. And, you know, they get to spring training. They're like, hey, are we going to see Daniel play late in the game? And I'm like, wow, you guys have figured this out. So I know I went all the way around with this. Frankie appreciates the Columbus connection, the Akron connection, and how that's all to come together. He loves that the Indians have done a great job with their prospects. He told me this spring, whether he's going to be here or not, he feels like his lasting impression on this team will be helping the younger generation of Indians become the best players they can. So he wanted the Ryan Rocchios, and I may be saying his name wrong, but the young 19-year-old shortstop. He went out of his way to go take ground balls with him, with Tyler Freeman. You know, all these guys, like he went out of his way to say, whether I'm here or not here, I'm not doing my part if I don't teach you guys everything I know. So when you do get here and play next to me, or when you get here and you replace me, I want you to know everything that I have. So let's hope. Let's hope that we get to keep him, even if it's maybe after the 2021 season, you know, because free agency isn't what it is, you get him for 2 more years or 3 more years. That's what I go to bed with my fingers crossed hoping happens.
Andre, speaking of impact and thinking even bigger than baseball, you and Zach Jackson with your podcast, A to Z podcast, had really a moving episode a few weeks back when, in the wake of George Floyd's murder and more of society focusing on the news, talking about racial justice, that sort of thing. Just powerful stuff, and I encourage our listeners to go check that out. But wanted to ask you, over this past month, what interactions or situations have encouraged you as it relates to this issue, and where do we still need to see growth and improvement, do you think?
Great question, Marco. I will say this. I was born and raised in Northeast Ohio in Akron. My dad's from Alabama. You know, I'm 42 years old. You can do the math of, you know, what he grew up and saw. And I'm blessed because my parents went out of their way to never put a bad bone in my body, a hateful bone in my body. I think if you see me work and you see my smile and you have a conversation with me and I look you in the eye and have a conversation, I am the embodiment of my parents, of what they raised and what they believed in and how to treat people. The podcast with Zach Jackson was very important because Zach's a guy that I've known you guys know how relationships work when you come from 2 different places, but, you know, he grew up in Manchester, Ohio. He went to a school where he didn't see very many minorities, but we've become best friends. And I think that's what our podcast kind of comes back to. And I'll be honest, a lot of things, guys, that we saw when the George Floyd thing happened, it hurt me more because my parents, who did everything they could to raise me without a mean bone in my body and a trustful bone, and to be able to trust everyone, I heard a lot of fear and a lot of anger and angst in my parents' voices because they were seeing things that they saw back in the 60s. And they fought their tails off for me not to have to go through that and for my sisters not to go through that. And we know that everyone in this world isn't like that. But at the same time, I guess being a father now, it got to me because you guys know the joy of having little ones around you. There's nothing better than the joy of a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old who just love life, who love every person that they meet, who don't have the pre-thought out thoughts that we may have or, that we gain over life. And, the joy that my kids have in life, Marco and Jim, that I don't want that to go away. Now, it's naive. I know that in life that will happen, but I want them to be trustworthy people. I want them to be upstanding people that trust and help people. And we try to do that. So just dealing with race, dealing with racism, knowing the relationships that I've seen in clubhouses, whether it be NFL clubhouses, whether it be Major League clubhouses, you guys know this. I saw in 2016, Mike Napoli, a kid that grew up in Plantation, Florida, of all places we say right now. And I saw him and Jose Ramirez, a kid from Bani, Dominican Republic, as you guys know. Their languages, they can barely speak, but they built a relationship that was unbreakable. They became two of the best teammates. They played cards before every game. And I'll say this, you don't have Jose Ramirez being, third in the MVP voting back-to-back years without the relationship he had with Mike Napoli. I see this every day. I see Josh Tomlin, a kid from Texas, become best friends with Michael Brantley, and they're the best men in their each other's weddings. I think sports have helped me realize that we can be the greatest team in the world no matter where we were born or who we were born with or what language we know or what color we have. We got to find a way to be able to do that throughout the rest of our world and have one, common thing that we're fighting for. And I think hopefully in our conversations, Marco, I think having the uncomfortable conversations that we're all having to have, that we can see a different light. My wife works with and has a company that works with kids with special needs. And I got to be honest with you guys, my heart has changed completely towards those families and what they go through. And in our spare time, we try. And I mention that because there's so many different families. It's not about race. It's one race. We're a human race. And we all could use, a pat on the back and, a little bit of help here and there. And I just want to be able to have conversations. And if I can help someone see something that they didn't see, or if someone can help me see something that I didn't see, I want it. I brought up Roberto Perez with you guys earlier, and, him growing up in Puerto Rico and growing up without very much, he's taught me a lot about growing up on islands and how those islands come together, as one. And, when we had those baseball games in Puerto Rico a couple of years ago when the Indians played the Twins, my wife was able to make the trip. And you guys do games every day. But it was like being at a family reunion in Puerto Rico, how they did the game. Like I remember my wife and I going, half these people don't know each other, but they're hugging each other and they're singing these songs together. And it was so festive. And we're like, man, I guess what I'm saying is I know that there is a better world out there that we're all a part of. We keep hearing the thing, bad apples. I just hope that our love and caring for more other people and the ability to hear each other's stories is going to help us get over the top. Delino DeShields, I don't know that well. He's a new Indian, but we got to know each other a little bit, spring training and Tribe Fest. He came out with some of the things he's gone through. And because of that, I have a small relationship with Kenny Lofton. And I was able to kind of connect Kenny Lofton and they were able to connect themselves with Grady Sizemore. And suddenly I'm blown away because I'm on a Zoom call with all these Cleveland Indians center fielders. And it wasn't about baseball, but it was about relationships and how we can all build relationships to help each other kind of navigate through this world so it could be a better world. And at the end of the day, that's all I want. I just want our world to be as best as it can for my children and anyone else's children that are out there.
But your kids are lucky to have you, Andre, and so are the Indians. And for me, thank you so much.
No problem, Jim. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not here to be a martyr, but I'm here to make this place. I want people to love Cleveland, Ohio, Northeast Ohio, Akron, Ohio, because of the great people we have. And I know that there's better stories out there than some of the stories we get stuck with in the media. So I think it's up to us to do our best to show that there are good people, that we are loving people, that we will help people that don't look like us. And I think sports has always been the great connector for me. So I'm going to keep doing that through sports, hopefully.
Well, Andre, you're one of the great people from right here in the Rubber City, Northeast Ohio, and you're working on telling those great stories as well. Thanks so much for sharing some time with us.
No problem. You guys keep your head up and keep doing the great job that you're doing. And we're going to get back to some normalcy one way or the other, but we need guys like you to keep the faith and keep us going as well. So thank you.
That was Indians TV broadcast reporter Andre Knott. And this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks was brought to you in part by Habitat for Humanity of Summit County and Stofers, both on the team of partners presenting RubberDucks baseball. Next, we'll talk about the July 4th event and fireworks coming up at Canal Park with RubberDucks Director of Premium Experience, Sam Dankoff. Stay tuned.
You're listening to At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO, your new home for Akron RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Are you looking for a great apartment with the best location? Fir Hill Towers Apartments is just a 5-minute walk to the University of Akron or a 5-minute drive downtown. You'll find spacious living, convenience, and fun with a wide variety of restaurants and entertainment just outside your door. Perfectly suited for young professionals and students on the go looking for off-campus living. Stop by 55 First Street Hill, Akron, or call 330-762-7000. That's 330-762-7000 today and reserve your apartment home.
There aren't many things in life that are easy. There's easy listening music, easy chairs, easy money. But did you know that you can enjoy all three while getting rid of your old energy-wasting refrigerator? You can schedule a pickup without moving from your easy chair. We'll haul it away and even pay you for it. So go ahead, take it easy, and let us take it from here. First Energy's Ohio Utilities will pick up your fridge and you'll get $50. Just visit EnergySaveOhio.com to schedule a pickup. Now that's easy.
What's better than a good steak? A great steak at a great value in a fun place. Texas Roadhouse. From fall off the bone ribs to made from scratch sides, we've got something for everybody. Great steak at a great value. Texas Roadhouse. Located at 4310 Lake Point Corporate Drive in Stowe, and now offering drive-through, carry-out, and curbside service. Visit TexasRoadhouse.alohaorderonline.com or call 330-920-9844.
Bridgestone Drive Guard tires deliver a clutch performance that won't leave you stranded on the side of a rural road or a busy highway. They're engineered to take a puncture and to keep running up to 50 miles after a flat at 50 miles an hour. Plus, you'll get the smooth, quiet ride and impressive tread-wear life you've come to expect from Bridgestone tires. Let the clutch performance of Bridgestone Drive Guard tires give you peace of mind. Bridgestone, proud sponsor of the Akron RubberDucks.
Here at Sarah Auto Park, community service has always been a priority of ours. These days, that spirit is more important than ever. Join us as we do everything we can to take care of our doctors, nurses, all other essential businesses, and their employees. If our community needs us for anything, even to safely get a bag of groceries to our most vulnerable, we're here. We'll get through this together. Sarah Auto Park.
No savvy traveler likes long lines or waiting around. So, lucky for you, the Akron-Canton Airport is easy and fast. With affordable on-site parking, quick check-in, and short security lines, you'll be through the airport in just minutes. CAK gives you more freedom to enjoy the things you love, like vacationing. With low fares to 11 nonstop destinations and just one stop to the world, book your next adventure from CAK.
RubberDucks fans, check out City Barbecue in Fairlawn for the best barbecue in town.
I gotta tell you, City Barbecue is the best smoked meats I've ever experienced in my life.
Literally the best beef brisket sandwich I've ever had.
Definitely the best barbecue I've ever had.
My best all-around barbecue experience ever.
Best barbecue around.
Some of the best barbecue I've personally tasted.
I highly recommend this spot for some of the best BBQ you'll ever have.
Visit citybarbecue.com or stop by 2870 West Market Street in Fairlawn.
Everyone at Honda wants you to be safe. And right now, you need a car you can count on and your dealer to go the extra mile. So if your Honda needs parts or service, we're right here ready to help. Working to follow all government guidelines in order to get you what you need and help you stay safe with a reliable car that's ready to go when you need it.
Visit NorthernOhioHondaDealers.com.
This is At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO.
Deep drive out to right field. Rafaela turning, watching. It's gone to the Bud Light line. Tiki Terrace.
Your new home for RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Marco LaNave, and this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks is brought to you in part by Visit Jacksonville and Stanley Steamer in the lineup presenting RubberDucks baseball. We now talk with RubberDucks Director of Premium Experience, Sam Dankoff, about Fourth on the Field coming up next Saturday at Canal Park. Sam, thanks for joining us. And we talked last week a little bit about events. I'm sure it feels really good to have this one back at the ballpark.
Well, thanks so much for the opportunity, Marco. You're absolutely right. This weekend, we're hosting our third consecutive weekend of high school baseball tournaments. And it's just been great to have baseball back at Canal Park, hearing the sounds of the fans and the crack of the bat and all the noises we're so familiar with. But we're just thrilled to have the community support behind us and are really looking forward to our annual 4th of July celebration, which we call Fourth on the Field, featuring the Disney movie Frozen 2. And we'll lead right into the city of Akron's fireworks shoot, right behind us, being shot from the State Street parking garage.
And for folks that have attended this Fourth on the Field in the past, what's going to be the same, and what are they going to notice or need to know in advance that's going to be a little bit different?
Just like every event that we're hosting right now, safety is our first priority, and is something that we're taking obviously extremely seriously. So we expect that it's going to take guests, a few minutes longer to enter the ballpark, just going through our procedures, of course, abiding by the social distancing guidelines. So we will open the gates at 6 o'clock and expect showtime to start somewhere around 7:30, 7:45. But just, we want to make sure that we give our guests just plenty of time, to get acclimated to these new guidelines and into this new normal.
One of the talks now for any event is capacity. What is the capacity for Fourth on the Field at Canal Park?
Yep, so Canal Park will have a capacity of 2,000 guests on 4th of July, and that'll be done in a socially distanced way. So you'll have, in most cases, 2 rows in between sets of groups, and of course, 4 seats in between each group as well. So we're certainly lucky to have a large ballpark with plenty of seating capacity. So we've gone through and just spaced everything and everyone out, and of course, seating on the field as well. So there'll be clearly identified markings where guests can and cannot be, to ensure that safety and to ensure that guests are abiding by the social distancing guidelines.
And for folks that are planning to come, how will they know if they're on the field or in seats? How can they plan?
Yeah, so tickets are available on our website, AkronRubberDucks.com. You'll have the opportunity to purchase either seats in the seating bowl or on the field. So you can select what works best for you and what you're interested in. Of course, guests in the field, we certainly encourage you to bring a blanket and be able to enjoy yourselves and of course, a great view of the video board. And then, guests in the seating bowl, you'll have, an opportunity to stay socially distanced from the groups next to you. And in a very safe environment.
How much are tickets for the event?
Tickets for Fourth on the Field are just $10, in keeping with our commitment of affordable family fun here at Canal Park, and look forward to welcoming the community on a very special evening.
This, you mentioned, will include the city's fireworks show. How are those plans for fireworks on the 4th of July just across Akron? Are those going to be different this year?
Well, Mayor Horgan has done an incredible job leading throughout the pandemic, and really this is consistent, with that as well. So we've partnered with the city, and there's going to be a number of different fireworks shoots throughout the city on the evening of the 4th. Of course, the one for us will be the downtown, fireworks shoot being shot from the State Street parking deck, which is just right behind Canal Park. But they have a number of different shoots going on at the Akron Executive Airport, Patterson Park, ball fields, Summit Lake, to name a few. And I think that's just a credit to the city for really recognizing the new normal and just ensuring everyone's safety. So guests at Canal Park are going to have just an incredible view of these fireworks. In years past, the launch point has actually been further back. So guests, in my opinion, will have a better view of everything this year.
And for coming to the ballpark, there have been events, these amateur games, and Are things going to be fully open on the 4th? Are they going to be able to get concessions and use the facility or anything like that?
Absolutely. So our team is hard at work in creating ways for guests to continue to be able to purchase their favorite ballpark food and be able to visit the team store and habits that they're used to and when they come out to Canal Park. So absolutely, you'll be able to buy your favorite ballpark food when you're here the evening with us on the 4th.
And Sam, I know in years past, usually this event has benefited some local charity. Are there plans for that for this year's event?
Absolutely. So we're thrilled to partner with the United Way of Summit County as the beneficiary of this event. And we work closely with them throughout the last couple of months with a couple other initiatives and of course have a long-standing relationship with them going back a number of years, and couldn't be more proud and excited to work with them and know, and of course, the good work that they're doing in our community every day. So United Way of Summit County has graciously accepted our invitation as the beneficiary of the event.
And I know people are looking forward to the chance to get back to the ballpark, and there's still some summertime left. So is there anything we can be looking forward to even more coming up at Canal Park, Sam?
We're absolutely thrilled to announce a new signature event here at Canal Park on Saturday, July 11th. And that's going to be Archbishop Hoban High School versus St. Vincent-St. Mary's. They're going to play an exhibition baseball game, but is really geared towards recognizing their senior class and those seniors that were affected by the pandemic and the circumstances and not having the ability to have a proper senior send-off and senior farewell. So we're just really excited to be able to host them, to be able to give these seniors, an opportunity to get that recognition that they so deserve.
Well, Sam, that sounds like a great, fun night at the ballpark, and hopefully we'll get a chance to visit with you more about what that will entail on next week's show as we get ready for July 11th. But thanks so much for joining us and talking 4th on the field. Is there anything else that people need to know about coming to the ballpark on the 4th of July as they've been so used to doing?
I would encourage guests to continue following our social media channels and website. There'll be plenty of details covering all of the guidelines, covering all of the things that guests need to know as they make their way to Canal Park, and of course the in-event experience as well. So we're just excited and thrilled to be able to host this event and look forward to welcoming the community.
Thank you to Sam Dankoff, the Akron RubberDucks Director of Premium Experience, and to Andre Knott of SportsTime Ohio, Fox 8 News, and WTAM for joining us this week. Tune in next Sunday evening at 6 o'clock for another episode of At Home with the RubberDucks. For Jim Clark, I'm Marco LaNave. Stay safe and healthy, everyone.
Thanks for listening to At Home with the RubberDucks. To listen to previous shows or for more RubberDucks baseball, follow the Akron RubberDucks podcast on the iHeartRadio app. For the latest on the team, go to AkronRubberDucks.com and follow the Akron RubberDucks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Akron RubberDucks Baseball. Affordable family fun.